Hey guys, what's up? It's John from Airsoft Jungle Club, and today we have our first episode of Monday Mailbox, where you guys submit topics, ideas, game types, really anything that you want me to talk about, and I'll discuss them and see what I can do for you guys in terms of incorporating those ideas into Airsoft Jungle Club. And right here we have a picture of a target with maybe a dead terrorist, maybe a dead Bin Laden, and he's holding an AK-47, and that's just a little tribute to Mikhail Kalashnikov, who actually died recently of old age, I believe, at age 94, and he was the inventor of the AK-47. So I just wanted to, break the news to you guys that unfortunately he has passed, and our thoughts and hearts go out to the country of Russia and the maker of one of the most controversial weapons. I don't think he intended it to become a weapon of mass destruction, really, but rather to defend his nation, and he did a dang fine job of doing that. So anyways, moving on to our Monday mailbox. The first thought comes from Taylor, and he was thinking Airsoft IEDs, standing for Improvised Explosive Device. Now, Taylor actually served, if my memory serves me correctly, he served for our country 2.5 tours in Afghanistan. And so IEDs are nothing new to him, and he wants to see them incorporated into Airsoft, which I thought was actually a pretty cool idea. He suggested thermal detonators, which sounds pretty extreme. I don't know about thermal detonation, like when a heat source comes near it, it detonates a thunder bee or something like that. I don't know if that could be cost effective, but I would bet that there has to be a way to maybe do like a laser tripwire, and that sounds expensive, but you buy a cheap Chinese laser for $10. You buy a photocell from Radio Shack. You do some soldering. When that photocell isn't receiving any light, something happens in the circuit, and that circuit creates a spark or something like that, and that detonates. I was thinking maybe even it would power just a simple servo. Somebody suggested servos, or even simple hobby motors, like to propel like a model airplane, and using that motor to pull a string which pulls the pin out of a thunder bee, which I thought was actually a very realistic and potentially cost-effective idea. So that's actually something I personally am going to look into. I thought that was a really cool idea. I think thermal detonators, while totally awesome, would just be rather difficult, and I mean, if you can find a cost-effective way to do it, I'm all for it, by all means. But I just, in my head, I couldn't come up with a way to do it, and I have taken college-level courses and AP courses in high school on digital electronics, and I just don't see a way to make that happen. But anyways, on with the topic of IEDs. For indoor ops, a lot of people seem to shut down, or not just indoor ops, but indoor gameplay. A lot of people just seem to shut down the idea of, well, if a guy's around the corner, why do you need an IED? Why don't you just chuck a grenade at him? And so they kind of shut me down there. But my idea is, at Airsoft Jungle Club, we have the flow pattern of the floor set up to be kind of a circular flow, so you end up on the enemy's side quite frequently, and they end up on your side. It's not like other indoor airsoft joints where there's a clearly defined enemy side and a clearly defined friendly side, and you never really see that side of the play unless you swap sides. And at Airsoft Jungle Club, you can kind of maneuver your way into enemy territory quite easily, which kind of makes the field fun, in my opinion. And I think in that case, if you could just take a second to, in a dark, shadowy corner, as you see there's tons of them, have something that you could, trigger remotely, a thunder bee or a tornado grenade rigged somehow some way to detonate remotely. You could say, okay, I know a guy's over there in that bunker, or near the bunker where I hid that IED. You could detonate it from 20, 30, 40 feet away, even across the field, just randomly, and use that as a distraction, or hopefully take the guy out, and you know, successfully eliminate that threat. I think that's a really cool idea. The only thing that I would run into is that you cannot use explosives on the field. Seeing as it is an indoor field, we do have to abide by fire code, and so we can't have anything with an open flame or smoke or fuse or anything like that. So it's not as simple as building a real IED. So that about wraps it up for that thought. The next thought comes from a kid named Hunter. And Hunter asked me how I felt about zombie operations, a zombie op, indoors. I know that here in Wisconsin we do have Operation Plague at Apocalypse Paintball, and that's a ton of fun if you haven't been. I've never been. I've watched videos, I've heard stories. I have yet to hear a negative thing about it. And so we wanted to incorporate that at Airsoft Jungle Club into an indoor zombie operation, because we could probably turn off a few extra lights and make it an even more dark environment and potentially do something like that. And my response to Hunter is we actually already did that maybe 2 weeks ago. And we did a beta test for a zombie apocalypse type scenario where we turned off the majority of the lights. We just left on a few so it was safe. And there were different safe houses you had to find, and there were ammo and extra guns, and you started off with only a pistol and maybe 2 mags. And you had to find each safe house, and in each safe house you had 30 seconds to reload. And it was a ton of fun. I actually have footage of that. I have so much footage, it's taking me forever to put together, so that's why it's not up yet. But I would say expect that in the near future as something to see on the channel. I would say maybe today or tomorrow, maybe a trailer, or maybe I can get the full thing done. But zombie ops are definitely a possibility. The final thought is just in regards to our FPS limit. Somebody asked if we would raise our FPS limit so that stock guns can be allowed on the field, and the answer to that is simply no. That's not something we're willing to do. It's a safety risk, and we're not willing to risk the safety of our players. So sorry to shoot you down on that one, but that's just not going to happen. 350 FPS is the limit, and there's no negotiating there. We like to keep everybody safe and happy, and nobody's going to be safe and happy if they're bleeding. So that's about it. Have a good one.